is so good to see all of you. I'm excited to be with you on another Monday. Welcome to the Other Side podcast, where my name is Janelle Villiers, and I am here to be with you for the journey of what it's like to be on the other side of mental health, of the other side of shame-based thinking, where we stop thinking that we're unlovable and unworthy and not enough, and start believing that we really are lovable, we are worthy, we're beautiful, all of those things, and creating resiliency around some of the shame-based thinking that sometimes we have. And I am excited to be on this journey with you all. For those of you who don't know, I wrote a book. It's called I Slept with a Married Man. Am I Still a Good Person? And that is all about the shame-based journey that I went on, looking at some of the messages that I had interpreted and received when I was younger, and then how that led to my adult life. And the shame-based thinking essentially ended up disrupting a lot of the different relationships that I had, whether personal or business related and that type of a thing. So I am really passionate about this subject area. I'm really passionate about mental health and how we can be better, how we can grow. I also recognize it's a journey. You don't just like get healed and then you're done. It's a constant thing that we're always going to be working on. And so that's why I call it a journey, and I'm glad to be here with you all. Now, as we have been together, you guys know that I love the topics that you have been bringing to me to discuss. And so today is another day where we're going to be discussing a topic that I think is really not talked about enough. And that is, isn't asking for help a weakness? You know, I love this because I know that for me personally, I have definitely thought that asking for help was a weakness. No one ever really like said that to me. I can't think of anyone in my life who like said that to me outright. But for some reason, I received a message, whether it was from society, family, school, something. I had received a message that said that when you ask for help, it somehow makes you vulnerable and makes you weak, and you can't let people see that about you. And so don't ever ask for help, right? Like always do it on your own. You can never rely on anyone to help you. You got to do everything yourself. And if no one has told you this yet, that is not true. That is the farthest thing from the truth, actually. I call asking for help actually a superpower. I think that there are some people out there who are really good at it and are actually using or flexing that superpower to a point where it's making their lives so much better. First of all, I just want to say, isn't it crazy that you would even assume that you can do everything by yourself? Like, what? That's a crazy assumption for you to have. Why would I have that assumption about myself, that I can do literally everything by myself, when logically that makes no sense whatsoever, right? Like it just does not. And so we're all going to need some help at some point. And I think when you're thinking about, okay, well, how can this thing that I've been taught, whether it's by culture or family or school or society, that this thing actually is a weakness, how is it not a weakness? Number one, it is always good to identify your limitations. Really huge with that. It shows a level of growth and openness and awareness that you have that many other people aren't. And people see that as a strength. Wow, like they're really self-aware, that they know like where their limitations are. That's amazing, right? There is something about our pride or ego sometimes that doesn't allow us to ask for help, again, because you don't want to be seen as weak. But it actually requires a lot of strength to move your pride aside and to say, you know what? I cannot do this by myself. I do need help. It's definitely a way in which you can create a level of resilience within yourself, because it shows that you're going to ask other people. So it's almost like showing that you're resourceful, right? And not necessarily resourceful in yourself, but the resources in yourself to know that you're okay and you just need somebody else to help you along the way. That doesn't mean that you're less than, or you're less of a good person or less important, right? I think also not necessarily looked at a lot or talked about a lot. I think when you ask for help, it actually strengthens relationships. The people that you love the most, don't you want to help them, right? Just think about it. Think about all the people in your life who you love the most, whether it's your children, parents, your significant other, your best friend, right? Like your pets, right? Like the people in your life that you love the most, you want to help them, right? And so if you are allowed to help them in some way, if there's some way that you can do that, like that, like just brings you closer, right? And so I would say like the reverse is now if you're the person asking for help and then you don't do it's almost like you're depriving the other person of doing something that they themselves would feel so fulfilling. So who are you to block them from from receiving that fulfillment, right? Like they really want to help you. They want to get closer to you. And so if you just keep saying, "Oh, I can do it by myself," like that doesn't create connection. It doesn't create closeness. So I think it's actually really important that we recognize that that's something that actually creates closer relationships. It actually strengthens relationships to ask for help. Again, just for our well-being, you guys know we just talked a lot about mental health right in the beginning, but again, if you're trying to do all this by yourself, it creates a mindset that you're all on your own, that you're isolated, that you're lonely. And there's like this whole lonely epidemic that's going on right now where so many people feel disconnected and they feel alone. And if you don't ask for help, then nobody knows to help you. And so like you lose that connection, right? And so if you think that you are all alone, that is not good for any human's mental health. And guess what? You're human. You're not some machine, right? You humans, like we do well, we live better, we thrive when we have connection, we thrive when we're working in community, when we have others to help us, right? So you want to make sure that you're doing that. Also, it's really empowering. I think the reason for that, and I'm going to speak as a woman, for a lot of times we don't even know what we want to ask help for because we don't know what we need. And it's because we don't take the time to think about what we do need. We're thinking about what everybody else needs, but we don't necessarily think about what we need ourselves. And so when that gets lost, when you don't know what you need, there's almost like a loss in power in that. Because then when you recognize what you do need, you can then ask for it. And that is super empowering because you've identified your needs. When you think that your needs don't matter and other people's needs are more important than yours or supersede yours, that's super disempowering, right? But how empowering is it to recognize your own needs and then be able to ask for help with that, right? So all of these things are really important. If this resonates with you, please let me know. I want to know I'm not just talking to the machine. So go ahead and put a yes in the comments if this resonates with you. I think it's really important too to think about times in your life where you actually have asked for help. And I know me personally, like I told you guys from the very beginning, it has been difficult for me to ask for help. So I recognize why this could be a challenge for you because it's certainly been a challenge for me. And one of the stories I can share with you is that gosh, just every time I've asked for help, now that I think about it, right? At first it's I don't know what I need, so I don't even know what to ask for help with, right? Like at first. But then I think when I recognize, oh man, I do need help with XYZ, then I'm really excited to then go ask a mentor. I do have mentors that I can actually go and ask for help with certain things. Like, am I thinking about this the right way? Am I going about this the right way? What are the steps that I should take? That kind of a thing. Has been really helpful for me because for me, clarity right now in my life is what's really important for me. Like just clarity. Clarity was my word for 2023. Certainly got a lot of that, which just helped me to move forward in my purpose and my vision. So getting help with creating clarity was super important for me, but I didn't until I knew that I needed clarity. It was hard to ask for help to get it right. So I think that's a part of it. Just knowing what you need, I think, is really important. But then once I received the help, gosh, it was so thrilling, right? Because you had like steps. Again, you had the clarity. So it was a bit thrilling to then like, oh, okay, I know what to do next, right? Like I have a plan. I can move forward because the indecision of not knowing what to do, I think was the thing that was really like killing me again, because I didn't have the clarity that I was looking for. So I think that's really important. And then the other thing, the other times that I have asked for help, including I need help with editing my book. There was that time I needed help when I was working as a professor. You know, I needed help with how was I going to teach a class? Can someone give me some tools, some resources, so that way I can be able to do it? Because when I first started, I didn't really know what I was doing, so I really needed that guidance to be able to do that. So for me, the asking for help has always resulted in a good thing, even though I've wanted to do things on my own for as long as I can, until I realized, like, oh no, I can't do this anymore. I now need help. And so it is not that it's no longer a struggle, it continues to be a struggle, but one that I am becoming more and more aware of, that I would like to, that I know that I am pursuing to get better at. Because after I listed all of those strengths to you guys, I recognize that, you know, asking for help really truly is a superpower. And I want to thrive. I want to have healthy connections and relationships. And so I have to move forward with like asking for help. So what are some ways that we can ask for help, right? I think that's the other thing. If you have been told don't ask for help your whole life, then when you're like, okay, now I'm ready to ask for help, but I don't really know how to ask for help without it seeming like a demand, right? And we all know what happens with demands. Anytime you're demanded to do anything, especially if you're American, then your immediate reaction is to do the opposite thing that you've just been demanded to do, right? So how do you ask for something that you need without making a demand? And I learned a technique from Alison Armstrong. So shout out to Alison Armstrong. If you ever watch this, thank you so much for giving me and the many others who have been exposed to your technique for asking for help. And so the number one thing is you need to be extremely clear with what it is you need. And not just kind of like a vague understanding, a very clear idea of what you need. And so I just want to pause there for a moment, because I think this is the number one thing for most people is they don't even know what they need. So that's why they don't ask for help. And then they're just kind of out there struggling for a long time, not even knowing like what they need, right? So take some time out of your day. I know things are crazy. You've got your cell phone pinging with all sorts of alerts. You've got your family, you know, trying to contact you. You've got your businesses that you're trying to run. I get it. But if you can carve out, put it in your calendar, at least spend 15 minutes just thinking about what it is that you need. Now, you can put these in categories. You can put them, what do I need to have a thriving relationship with my significant other? It could be, what do I need in my business? It could be, what do I need in my finances? It could be, what do I need in my profession, my career? What do I need with my relationships with my children or my parents, right? Like, just, I think putting them in categories makes it easier, but just think about what it is that you actually need. And don't worry about being selfish or people thinking weirdly of you. No. None of that. Just put what you need. There is no judgment here. No one else is reading this but you, right? So like, just put what it is you need. And then once you think about what you need, then describe next to each one, or maybe underneath if you're doing a list that way, what would it provide for you if you got that need met? So, you know, my significant other, if my significant other took out the trash, that would provide for me a sense of we're in this together. I'm not here cleaning the house by myself. It would also make me feel less icky. I kind of get grossed out touching the trash. So if you could do that without me having to worry about it, I'd really appreciate it. It makes me feel more like a lady, clean, you know, all that stuff. So that's what it would provide for me. I'm using a really inconsequential need just so you guys get the sense, right? And then it could be something more like, I need to see my significant other at least 2 times a week. Like, when we don't see each other 2 times a week, I just feel distant and like we're not connected. And I don't know if I like that's going to work for me. Like, are we even in a relationship? Like, what does that really need, right? So that's the need. What does it provide for me if I see my significant other at least 2 times during the week? It provides me a sense of connection, a sense of being wanted and desired, which makes me light up, right? I'm able to be better for my significant other when, be supportive and provide the love and affection and attention that they, really thrive into, right? And so I can just show up as my best self when I get those things. That's what it provides for me, right? So that's really key in the technique that I'm about to describe. So if it's a work related thing, I just did relationships. But if it's a work related thing, I need for my colleagues to, when they need something urgently, to not email me about it because the emails get missed. I need them to either text message me or call me, like one or the two, because the emails get missed. If you were to text message me or call me, what it would provide for me is a sense of, okay, I can communicate with this person. I feel that we have a clear understanding. The communication gets less gobbled up in time and space and whatever, right? Like you get to communicate with each other directly and immediately, so action can be taken oftentimes in a timely manner, right? So it provides me with a way in which to pursue action items efficiently and appropriately in a way that I feel confident in doing, right? That's what it provides. So now I'm talking about like professional things, business things, whatever that is, right? So need, and then what does it provide you? And so the need also should be very specific. I mean, I said 2 times a week. That was pretty specific, right? When we do see each other, what are we doing? Are we watching Netflix, or are we learning something new together? Are we giving each other a massage? Like, what is that, right? When I get the text message or the phone call, is it after 9 p.m.? Because that's not going to work, right? Like as long as it's between the hours of 9 and 5 p.m. and I get a text or a phone call, that's great. That's going to allow me to communicate and take action in a timely manner. But if I'm getting it at 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, the chances of me being able to perform efficiently just not there, right? So getting even more dialed in the specificity of the need and what that need would look like when it's being provided for, really, really helpful. Okay, so now that you have an understanding of all of that, this is what it looks like when you ask for your needs. So you ask the person, hey, look, I need to see you 2 times a week. If we saw each other 2 times a week, it would make me feel connected to you. It would make me feel like I can be affectionate with you without feeling like really fake or having to like re-warm up to you, if we don't see each other for a longer period of time. And that way we can just like be with each other and make each other, happy in the spaces that we're in and support each other. When we see each other though, I can't be just doing Netflix and chilling. I want to talk to you. Maybe we have a conversation. Maybe we play games. Maybe we go for a walk with each other. Try something new. Those kinds of things is really what I want us to do. And if we could do those between the hours of 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., that would be great. Weekends are cool, but at least one day during the week and one day during one weekend day would be awesome. I would love to be able to provide for you, the best version of me so we can, continue to support each other and be connected. And so what do you need from me for you to be able to provide that for me? And that is the key question. So if you can tell somebody what you need, tell them what it would provide for you, ask them, hey, can you provide it for me? And then finally, what do you need from me in order for you to do that? Hey, so what I really need right now is I really need that you don't email me, especially if it's something urgent. I would really prefer if you text or call me. Don't feel like you're bothering me. I would actually rather that you text or call me because I don't want to miss it. And what that would provide for me is it would provide for me like equal communication between the two of us, or rather more efficient communication between the two of us. I want to make sure we're on the same page, and I want to make sure that I can act in a timely manner to what's going on. Otherwise, an email, I may not. And I would prefer that like we have our working relationship go smoothly. And so that would help in a more smoother working relationship. Is that something that you feel like you can do? And if you can, what do you need from me in order for me to provide that for you? Now, here's the thing. When you ask, what do you need from me in order for you to provide that for me? It feels like now we're a team. This is no longer a demand. We're doing this together. And here's the thing. Whatever they say is the thing that you need to do. You just need to accept it as the thing. Even if it sounds crazy, I want to see each other, 2 times a week too. That sounds great. But in order for us to do that, I need you to be ready. Like, I can't wait for you to get dressed for us to go out and hang out and do all the things, because that's how we end up Netflixing and chill, because I come over and you're not ready yet. And so I just kind of hang out and whatever. So it'd be really great if you could just be ready. If you could be ready, then we can hang out and spend as much time together. That would be awesome. You know what? I can do that. I didn't realize that was preventing us from spending the quality time that I was looking forward to. Awesome. If it's the business thing, you know what? I can do that. Can you just make sure that your phone is not on silent? Because when I do call you or text message you, sometimes you don't see it because it's on silent. And so what I need you to do is to take it off of silent during those times. That way I can make sure that we can communicate with each other in that way. Oh, you're right. I will do that. No problem. Right. So whatever that is, you need to accept what that is. So that way you guys can work together. And that I have found to be a very graceful, wonderful way in which to ask for your needs to be met in a way that feels like you're part of a team without demanding anyone to do anything, that people feel happy to be able to provide your need as well. And the same could be for them as well, right? Like you can also provide what they need in order for a shared goal. I hope you found this helpful. Please let me know in the comments if you do. I will see you next Monday on the Other Side podcast. Have a great night, everyone.